go.
We are live for our first Wellthy conversation with Dr. Dineo and Tim. So welcome everybody. If anybody does jump on live, wow, what a pleasure. But if you're listening to the recording, you're welcome and thank you to our first one. So my name is Tim Wagner, but it's not about me today. It's about the esteemed Dr. Dineo. And I'm going to introduce you to her quickly, and then we're going to have a chat to find out a little bit more about what really drives her, what makes her passionate about being a doctor, but also not being a traditional doctor, which is what got my attention when I first met this lady. So she's also known as the gifted doctor. She's a medical doctor holding a diploma in child health, and beyond her medical expertise, she's a passionate advocate for holistic health and wellness. And the journey's led her to establish Wellness 365, where she offers health coaching with a unique, comprehensive approach. And through personalized coaching and motivational speaking and educational content, Dr. Dineo inspires others to embrace their unique gifts. And her health coaching covers nutrition, exercise, stress management, habit formations, with an emphasis on empowering individuals to transform their lives. Hence the name, Gifted. Now, I could talk a lot more about what you've got, but I really want to hear from you and why you do what you do. So, first of all, say hi.
Hello, everybody. Hopefully there maybe are one or two people joining us here. I'm so excited. Thank you for, I guess, having me today. And I look forward to having this very wealthy conversation today.
That's what it's all about. Wellthy as in changing paradigm shifts. That's what this is all about. And you've had some phenomenal paradigm shifts since studying medicine and leading to what you're doing now. But before we tuck into some of that, what is one of your favorite self-care practices that makes you look as stunning and healthy and well as you are?
My favorite, wow. I have a lot, but I think just spending each morning, having some time to meditate, reflect, pray. For me, that is like I thrive on alone time. So having that few minutes in the morning to just be in my thoughts, be in my meditation space alone, uninterrupted, is really, really what fuels my soul and keeps my soul going every day. I have many others, but I think that's like the main one. Yeah.
I'm with you on that morning meditation, that peace time, getting out of your head and into your heart, how empowering that can be. And when you do that, have you ever uncovered, thought of a solution to a problem or a new idea that you never had before in that moment of peace?
100%. That's what it's all about, right? Because in that moment, I know, I'm sure we all have like a higher power that we believe in, and for me, that's Jesus. And I think in that time in the morning, that's really my conversations with God, and sometimes I literally get like firebomb ideas, or I'll wake up and I'll just have this very big conviction to like go do something, and after doing it I'll be like, okay, wow, that was I heard right. So I think, yeah, definitely that's
Brilliant. Thanks so much for sharing. It's about listening. It's about finding that your intuition, as you said, wherever you go to for your spiritual guidance, and listening to that, and then taking that act on it. But now, wellness has got so many different myths. There's a lot of misperception about mental health, about physical health, about wellness. So what wellness myth would you love to bust?
I would like to bust the myth that you can effectively and sustainably lose weight and keep it off of a diet.
Ooh.
So I mean, we're in a generation or a time where there's a lot of, diet trends, Ozempic, you name it, this and this is coming out, etc. But I think for me, the one question I always ask my clients is, do you think whatever you're using or whatever diet you're on is sustainable? Like, can you actually do this for the rest of your life?
Mm.
And I think that's the one question that I would say, if ever you're considering getting a sort of quick fix or magic pill to, losing weight or looking your best, I
Not
think you
so
got to
much.
go. Not so much. Do the hard work.
You're leading into a brilliant conversation, which I also hold with a lot of people, being that this is a lifestyle choice when we're talking
Mm.
about wealthy, when we're talking about mental, physical well-being and health. So tell us a little bit of your background, or what got you from your medical field and being a practicing doctor to
Mm.
now your journey into the wellness space. That's a
Mm.
fascinating for me.
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of people are always like, when I tell them I'm passionate about preventative medicine, and they're like, so you basically want to chase patients away from you. I'm
Do
like, well,
yourself out of a job, Dr. Dineo.
but yeah, I mean, I think for me, the paradigm shift happened when I was quite younger, and I just realized through my own transformational journey of weight loss and a mental sort of a paradigm shift, that really all the solutions we're looking for in terms of our health are really hidden in the things that we think are, extra or mundane things: moving our bodies, eating the right foods, practicing mindfulness, practicing connection and relationships with other people. And then when I studied medicine and started practicing as a clinician, I figured, we're doing the exact opposite of that. We were just like giving people tablets. It was like the system of just like feeding people with tablets for every little symptom they have, without really equipping them to sort of make long-term lifestyle sustainable solutions. So they were basically being dependent on medication, and I just felt like, that's just not what I want to be part of. And so I went into sort of exploring alternative things. I then went on to study nutrition and do the health coaching diploma, which is centered around behavioral change, and I really enjoyed it. And I really began to find the thing that I felt like I had been called to, what my purpose
Mhm.
is. And so,
Yep.
yeah, that's where I am now, just on a journey of exploring more the preventative medicine and wellness space, and how to further, be innovative, be forward thinking, offer solutions to the problems that people have, but in a more preventative, holistic, natural way, which is very
Mm.
hard, I must say, considering I carry the title of doctor. And most people come to me expecting fast, quick solutions, tablets, etc., and having to change that narrative and give people a different alternative and convince them that over time you will see results with consistent habit formation is a bit of a challenge. But I mean, I'm exceptionally impressed with at least some of the progress we're making so far.
I remember when we had one of our first discussions, you mentioned about the frustration you had as a practicing doctor, where
Mm.
literally given, what was it, 10 minutes per patient, 15 minutes?
15 minutes,
It was
yeah.
huge. And just tell us a little bit about that frustration that you felt, because you want to help the people,
Mm.
but you were so limited, which then was, correct me if I'm wrong, one of the catalysts that got you to looking at things a little bit differently from a wellness, holistic perspective.
100%. I think, it's not only frustrating, but it's also like leads to burnout, even on your part, as the person who's like seeing these thousands of patients one after the other, for just 15 minutes. And it's so frustrating to sit in a consultation with a person and literally have to cut them off each time they try to go in depth about a problem, because you know that your time is limited. And all you can do is literally look at their previous script, see what you can amend, and literally add on or subtract or adjust doses, etc. But it was literally, there was no time to actually sit and delve into conversation with patients about the real issues they're facing. I would find that people are really struggling with bigger things that are actually impacting their health or preventing them from coming to for the real medical things in a proper way that can actually benefit them. Social issues, mental health issues, sleep issues, poverty issues, like real life problems that are
Mm.
actually part and parcel of our health. But like it was like we had to ignore all of that and just like cut throats to
Mm.
whatever the science is, and that was quite frustrating for me because I think innately, probably, by design, I'm just this person who's very much holistic, and I think that's what really pushed me to say, I need to be in a different space where I can hold 45 minutes to an hour consults with clients or patients and really dig deeper into what's really affecting their health.
Amazing. So this goes back to that lifestyle choice and
Mm,
how much of what you're dealing with on a daily basis is preventative.
100%.
So you're looking and saying, right, we're going to look for the future. What can you change now in your complete lifestyle in order
Mm,
to avoid this happening, getting worse, etc., and then activating the body's natural ability to heal in its most authentic way. So
yes.
let's talk a little bit about Wellthy, because I want to lead. Thanks so much for sharing. And we could have conversations about doctors and medicine. And I've been known openly to call doctors drug dealers. Did I say that? This is not recorded. No, openly, because I deal with so many people in the corporate space who have been on medication for so many years, and they're coming to me and they're saying, what I'm being given does not work. So, what has inspired you from your background in studying medicine, from being a practicing doctor, to now being the co-founder of co-founder,
Similar territory.
you know, to co-founding Wellthy?
Hmm. I think, I mean, one thing I realized when I was in the clinical space that was really also frustrating to me was the lack of knowledge. I think when you've studied something and you're an expert in something, you sort of tend to assume that certain things are common sense. But when I was in the clinical field and I saw, like, I was in the pediatric department and I saw parents coming in with half dying children, or even, um, they themselves suffering with diseases that were completely and utterly preventable. And that if lifestyle changes were implemented and they were held accountable for those, things could really be in a different trajectory. And I was like, people are just perishing because they don't know what is going on. Like, if you're treating, you would find that teenagers were getting pregnant, falling pregnant, having these STIs such as syphilis, you name it, HIV, and they would have like misconceptions or wouldn't even understand what they were. The
Mm,
treatment they're getting, they don't even understand why they're getting this treatment, and they're missing their follow-up appointments because they just don't, like, it's a whole misinformation, misunderstanding. It's like there's just pure lack of knowledge and understanding here.
right.
And for me, that's when I then decided, like, I think I'm called to be downstream, where I can just educate people on the simple basics, of what's really happening to them. And when I joined an NGO that really took health education to every space, the workspace, schools, you name it, communities, through mobile clinics, that's when my eyes were open to say, wow, actually the workspace is where people spend most of their day. And if
Mm,
we could take healthcare to them in the workplace, like,
yes.
wow,
Yes.
what a solution. And so when I then, stepped out of the clinical environment into that NGO space and subsequently started my own practice, I thought I really want to take health education to the corporate space. And so, yeah, it was, of course, about not just bringing the health education, but also bringing practical things around wellness. And so when I thought about, what could be a great name, and I thought, well, the big thing we're trying to emphasize here is that health is wealth,
Yeah.
your health is your wealth. And so, I mean, that's how you become wealthy, right?
It's it.
Your
Beautiful.
health is your
Yes.
wealth.
So we're joining forces, and I'm really excited about this, is bringing
Mm,
this unique and, yes, direct approach to employee well-being programs, employee wellness, whether you want to call it mental health, but it's all about the health and well-being of teams within companies. And
Mm.
this morning I was having a talk, I did a keynote talk to a group of entrepreneurs and business people. And we were talking about health of people in general. And I asked the question of this group, and there was 45 people in the audience, whose responsibility is it to provide health education, a healthy environment to people? Who's going to do it? Is it the government? Probably not.
Mm.
Families? Well, no. Is it employers? And they were going, no. And I said, well, let's have a look at the alternative. So what's
Sure.
your perspective on this? You have got a choice as an employer, as an HR executive, or you're employing people. You have a choice. Help them look after their health and well-being,
Mm.
or lose them due to high sickness, due to burnout, due to quiet quitting because they can't handle the pressures anymore. What costs you more? Looking
Mm.
after your team or replacing consistently at high cost, up to 3 times annual salary if you're talking about an executive, and months of lost productivity? What costs you less?
Well, I think the answer is straightforward.
There,
Looking after the health of your employees.
exactly. And
Mm.
that's the approach of Wellthy, to saying, how can we help you, your team,
Mm.
healthier? Yes, in the workspace, but if we're not looking after self, you mentioned teams and executives, and Dineo, there's an interesting article that came out a few months ago from Discovery.
Mm.
Discovery published a report that in the last 5 years, so this is
Yeah.
now post the pandemic, in the last 5 years, there's been a 68% increase in suicide rates of people above the age of 50.
Mm.
Shocking statistic. The statistics are out. They're available worldwide.
Yeah.
The numbers are shocking. So who's going to help people? Because look at the companies that are now struggling. If your team is disconnected and not engaged,
Mm.
what happens to your customers?
Mm. They
That's
get poor service.
poor service, lack of service. You're permanently trying to replace your good people. So
Mm.
looking after them. And that's where we come in.
Sure, 100%. 100%.
So how can people find us? What is our approach? I know we're new and we're just having our first conversation, which is so exciting here. How do you see
Yeah.
where we're coming?
Well, I think people can definitely be on the lookout for more of these lives and conversations as we get more in depth about, about ourselves and about the vision and mission of Wellthy. So definitely to be on the lookout for more of these lives. There will be a website also going live soon. And then they can also check out our Wellthy page, just to read a little bit about us. Yeah, I don't know if I'm missing anything, Tim.
That's about it, I think, for now. So what we'll do is down in the comments, we're live on YouTube and on LinkedIn. In the
Mm.
comments, I'll put their contact details for myself, for Dr. Dineo. Reach out to us. There is going to be more. We're developing a lot as we're talking. But if you're looking for a dynamic, different approach to a keynote talk for executives, for leadership, it starts at the top and filters down.
Mm.
This is where we're going to come in and do a very interactive, dynamic keynote, not just stand up there and chit chat. Those are over. We're going in here to break that mold, create a new paradigm
Yeah.
around mental health, well-being in the workspace, and give real solid. You've got the scientist here. You've got myself. You're going to be hearing from me next week. We're reversing roles. Who comes in from that corporate burnt out perspective to provide
Mm.
real actionable tools.
Sure.
So to finish off today, a last word from Dr. Dineo.
Well, I think it's quite straightforward. If you are trying to improve the well-being and the culture of your company for a more happier, thriving workforce, then Wellthy is where you should be looking to.
Appreciate it. Love it. Thank you so much for joining from the gifted doctor and myself, Tim Wagner. We'll be here live every Wednesday at 1:00 for different perspectives on what to do to help your teams, your executives, your crew become wealthy.